Kind of maybe update us on what didn't happen with the main event. What happened with Amanda Nunes? Walk us through the whole process and just kind of can you give us the latest on her condition?
So after the weigh-in yesterday, she weighed in, she made weight. Then leading up to the ceremonial weigh-ins, I got a call that she wasn't feeling well. And it was questionable whether she was going to show up to the ceremonials because the doctor needed to see her and they needed to find out what was going on with her. So she does them, everything's good. This morning I wake up and I hear that she's not feeling well again and she wants to, no, she's not feeling well again and she's probably not going to fight. So I asked the doctors what's wrong with her. She was medically cleared. She was physically okay. They found nothing wrong with her. But she didn't feel right.
And she just says, so I'm not going to fight? I mean, she refuses to fight? I mean, I guess you can't physically make somebody.
No, you can't make anybody fight. It's not that she, was like, I'm just absolutely refusing to fight. She said, I don't feel right. I don't feel good. I think that it was, 90% mental and maybe 10% physical. She probably didn't feel right. I mean, I think a lot of fighters have had times where they don't feel right, and then we've had guys who are outright sick. There's situations like our maniac Cowboy Cerrone, who calls me last week or 2 weeks ago, or whatever it was. He's got staph infection in his knee, and he pulled his groin. He had a bruise from the inside of his knee all the way up to the top, and he's like, but you know what? The doc's saying, but it's true. Dr. Davidson was saying, we're getting him the antibiotics that he needs, and he'll be ready to go by that night. And I was like, I said, you don't want to fight Robbie Lawler in this condition, so let's push it back 10 days or 2 weeks or whatever it is. And we did. These situations arise all the time. I don't know if I've ever had a situation like today, though, where she was, physically capable of fighting.
So, I mean, she's on a fantastic run, but how does that impact, does that concern you moving forward? Like, can I put this woman in a main event slot?
Yeah, I won't do that again. I won't main event that title again.
It sounds like you said earlier today, maybe Edmonton for the reschedule for this fight. What needs to happen to make that official? Is that the plan for sure, or is it still kind of up in the air?
No, that's the plan. We're working on it. That's what I would say. We would do that. Makes sense.
Okay, appreciate those updates. Let's just ask about what did happen. Robert Whitaker looked fantastic. I can just give your thoughts on what was an incredible performance. Now you got maybe a new star at just 26 years old, first Australian champ.
Awesome. He looked incredible. If you look at his fight against Jacare, I said leading up to that fight, this fight's going to be determined by the first clinch. And in the clinch, he got out, started landing bombs. Then you see him in this fight against Yoel Romero, where he has basically one leg 2 minutes into the first round. And the takedown defense was unbelievable work in the clinch. One of the things I got to point out, because I would listen in between every round, his corner work was insane. His cornerman did such a great job of coaching him through, round by round and trying to take the focus off his leg. He was incredible. He looked incredible.
And last thing for me, you brought Michael Bisping into the cage. You still got the George St. Pierre thing out there where he's saying he wants to fight. Do we know for a fact that this is the fight without question that will happen? And could it happen in Australia? An Australian event was announced tonight. Is it possible that fight could take place there?
The George St. Pierre ship has sailed. That fight's not happening, obviously. I've been saying that now for a while. I had a press conference for that fight and it never happened. So, we had to move on. And if you look at what happened tonight, both of these guys, the main event was awesome. It was such a great fight. This is the fight that should happen. This is absolutely the fight that should happen, and it's gonna.
Did that Australian date happen, or is that?
The funny thing is, you're asking me that. No, that's not. But I would love to do this fight in Australia. So I'm not saying we are, but I would love to.
Hey Dan, right over here. You talked on the post-fight show later this evening about the Alistair Overeem fight. and saying that that fight isn't really inspiring to fight for the title next. Who did you score that fight for between Verdum and Overeem?
Well, the crazy thing is, I don't think it's rocket science to know going to that last round. I felt like Verdum had to finish. I felt like Verdum had to finish him. How you can score a 10-8 in that fight? I don't know, man. I don't see it. To me, one guy has to get dominated so bad for a fight to be a 10-8, and the closest thing to it was the third round. Verdum had him out, he had him hurt, and he double legs him and lays on top of him for the rest of the fight, and he lets it go to the judges. So you can't be upset about that. You had the fight was there to win. He was standing up, he was out on his feet, and he was hitting it with shots at will, and he double legs him and lays on him the rest of the fight. What are you mad about?
And the Francis Ngannou and Junior Dos Santos fight, is it safe to say Ngannou wins that, he'll fight Stipe next?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how the fight goes, what happens, how he feels, and
And you mentioned UFC 215. Is there any concerns at all about the commission, just with what happened with Tim Hague? I know there's been some talks about potentially looking into that whole situation and what happened with him.
I'm very confident in the people that we have, from Mark Radner down, and the judges and referees that will travel for an MMA event to be able to it's not like it's our first trip to Canada either. Been to Canada many times, and we have very confident people. It was a really bad stoppage tonight earlier on, and it was horrible. We had Joe Silva going crazy again tonight over that stoppage, but other than that, our people are pretty capable.
Dana, right here to your left for a moment. Just following up on the heavyweight division, looking at the rankings, who's already booked and that sort of thing. Obviously, Cain Velasquez comes up, but just any status update on him.
Last I heard, he would be back around October or November.
Okay. So that would have possibly put him in the conversation about the winner of Ngannou, Dos Santos, and that sort of thing.
Definitely.
Okay, also, just since we have you here, going back to last night, the debut of Justin Gaethje, the fight of the night. Conor McGregor casts a wide shadow over the lightweight division, but with him gone for the summer with boxing, it seems like this is an opportunity for any number of lightweights to really hijack the platform while he's not here, so that when he does come back, they have a chance to be somebody that he's going to have to reckon with. Do you see this as kind of a summer of opportunity for lightweights to emerge, put themselves in that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that kid breaks into the top 5 with that performance, and you got Khabib and Tony out there too, and yeah, there's a lot of great fights to be made while they're waiting for Conor to come back.
So, just to follow up on that, over to your right. Just to follow up on that, he was specifically calling out Tony. The 24 hours has passed. Can we matchmake that fight? Are you ready to do that?
I actually still want to see Khabib versus Tony.
So that fight's got to happen first. You're still...
It doesn't have to happen first, but I'd kind of like to see it. Anything can happen. Anything is possible, but we'll see how this thing plays out. I know that Khabib is set up to come to Las Vegas and go to the Performance Institute and work with the nutritionist there and some therapists. But if he's not ready to fight, I do Gaethje and Tony.
Here's Tony wants it too. So he responded to Gaethje's call out. Basically said he'd do it if it was for an interim title.
Cool.
That's the same, not a question.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Hey Dana, I just wanted to ask you. A couple people asked me about Amanda in your decision, or not your decision, but since she didn't fight and Dr. Davidson cleared her, did you consider stripping her of the title at all? Was that ever a factor?
No, I didn't consider that. We didn't pay her.
And just, how do you deal with those kind of situations when, you've had it before, like when you're going through it, should you strip the fighter or not to strip the fighter? Like, what's the thought process? How do you work through that?
When you're going through stripping a fighter?
Yeah, because she's cleared to fight, so the doctor's saying she's healthy enough, and then she says, I don't want to fight. Like, so I'm not trying to be harsh because I think that's the right thing.
That's a great question. It's a great question, and we've never seen anything like this from her before. There's no pattern of her refusing to fight somebody, or those are the type of situations where I'll read something where a guy says, "Yeah, I refuse to fight this guy." I'll tell you, it just happened with DJ. We have a fight for this guy. It's for his chance to break the record. Is a very credible guy that wants to fight him. The guy's cutting weight, getting ready, and all this stuff, and he's absolutely refusing to fight him. So that's when I sit there and start going, first of all, you're the pound for pound best fighter in the world, number one. Number two, you're on X amount of defenses, and you're absolutely refusing to fight somebody. When there's a pattern of that, then I start looking at stripping that.
Just to ask you one question about Whitaker. I mean, the journey that he was on, here's a guy that lost 2 in a row after he got into the UFC, seemed kind of adrift. Can you kind of comment a little bit about how he was able to turn his game around? And there have been few UFC fighters that have improved as dramatically as he has in a very short period of time.
Yeah, no, Whitaker, the guy looked absolutely incredible. Like I said, his takedown defense against guys like Jacare and tonight against Romero is unbelievable, especially looking, when you look at it, he was really injured in that first round. His leg was completely jacked up, and the performance he had tonight was incredible. He looked unbelievable. At 26, you say, what's this guy going to look like when he's 29? And he's got a really good team around him too, so very impressive.
Hey Dan, over here. Shevchenko's team told me that they were offered Edmonton tonight and accepted, and now they're waiting for Amanda. Is that accurate?
Yes, I know that both camps were offered Edmonton. I don't know where we are at the. I don't know who is accepted or who hasn't. The fight is made. I don't know.
What do you make of Travis Brown? 4 in a row now. It doesn't seem like the same kind of fighter.
Yeah, it's crazy. Travis Brown was one of those guys. Right before I would say the Bigfoot fight. Even the Bigfoot fight, he got injured. He blew his hamstring or something weird happened to him in that fight. Guy looked like he was going to be a world champion. And it's just, this is one of those sports, you never know. 1 minute you're absolutely unbeatable and unstoppable, and the next minute you can't win a fight.
Do you think that he'll stick around?
I think that Travis should retire.
Okay. Have you told him that?
I have not.
Okay. Did you have a chance to talk to Cyborg?
I did not.
Will you unblock her on Instagram? She's bothered by this.
She's bothered by what?
That you blocked her on Instagram. She brought this up today.
What the fuck?
She said that.
Where's my phone? Give me my phone. Why would I block her on Instagram? That's craziness. She's following the wrong Dana White. I'm gonna look at this right now.
Okay. Can I ask you a question while you do that?
Yep.
Or do you want to focus on that?
No, listen, I can multitask.
Okay. I thought the UFC 214 promo, the second one that aired, I think right before the main event, was the best and most honest promo in UFC history.
Thank you.
Particularly because of the story of John Jones and not shying away from it. Was that something that you had to sit down and talk, like how much of this are we going to tell? How much are we going to peel back the curtain here? Because you don't often see that before a fight.
No, I think that. Listen, if a guy, all right, what is her Instagram? Maybe I can't do this by myself.
Chris Cyborg, just one word, no H in Chris.
Chris Cyborg MMA?
No. But if you blocked her, you may not see her.
Why the fuck would I block Chris Cyborg? Listen, we've done some stupid things over the last couple of years with the website and all kinds of other stuff. But why would I go out and just block her? Because I don't want her seeing the stuff that I'm posting.
While you're at it, could you unblock me too?
No, I'm blocking you. You're staying blocked. So if I blocked her, it won't pop up?
No, you'll be able to find her.
Yeah, it should still pop up, right?
Yeah. It's just Chris Cyborg.
Are our social media people here? Chris Cyborg UFC, Chris Cyborg FC.
Just Chris Cyborg, nothing else.
Okay. I did not block Chris Cyborg. That's weird. Anyway.
The promo.
So the promo, yeah. So listen, if a guy makes a mistake and has one, I mean, this is years, and this is like John Jones. You know, he's gonna do all the beef between him and Cormier. And when you think about it, this is only the second fight between these two. It's crazy. I think that you can't honestly, you know, talk about this fight without telling the story. And that's the whole story. And at the very end of the promo, you see John is reading something that Cormier had written. And he's like, I'm a good person, you're a bad person. You're a this and I'm a that. And he goes through this whole thing and he basically ends it with, I have to win this fight, I have to get my life back. So John Jones is being about as honest as John Jones can be too. So it's just, all of that put together is what makes it one of the greatest promos we've ever done.
And last one for me, the press tour starts next week for Mayweather and McGregor. What is your role?
Starts tomorrow for me.
Oh, okay, so what is your role in all of this? Like, are you going to be at the press conference?
Yeah, I'll be at all of them. I'm going on the whole tour. You know, the way that this thing's laying out, this is you know, Lene and Mayweather's team are putting this thing together, and I think it's going to be a hybrid of the boxing press conferences and UFC press conferences. I don't know. I think it's going to be more like a boxing press conference than it is our press conferences. You know how mine are. No bullshit. We walk in and we sit down and we, what's up? Who has the first question? And we get it rolling. And I think there's going to be a lot more bullshit in this one.
But you'll be on the stage like this.
What's that?
You hear from your sponsors from Southwest Airlines.
Yeah, but listen, I'm going to sit there with a mic, and when you ask me a question, I will answer it. I'm not going to get up and give any speeches or do any, you know, anything like that. I think Conor and I will come in. Conor and I will sit down, and we'll answer questions when asked questions. I think that the rest of the people that are going to come in, I think there's going to be a lot of people that come in and talk, and you know, a lot of speeches.
Why was Ellerby here today?
Ellerby asked if he could come to the fight. He wanted to bring his daughter and wanted to come, and I thought that was great. Yeah.
You guys didn't have any meetings?
No meetings. Everything's done. The business is pretty much handled. You know, there's stuff that pops up left and right. This thing has really been smooth and has gone really well.
Dane over here. You said on the conference call that if y'all didn't have the press conference set up by already happened by fight week, that we were going to be in trouble. So are we in trouble?
I'm sorry. What did I say?
That we didn't have the press conference by fight week, we'd be in trouble.
By International Fight Week?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what happened was we started to sit down and look at it. First of all, you got my schedule, you got Conor and Floyd's schedule, and other people that were involved, and it made more sense to do it after International Fight Week. I mean, I wasn't even in town until last Wednesday, and it's the way that it worked out. You know, and we're going on this thing. Staples Center is sold out. By sold out, I mean they did tickets. There's no more seats left. Barclays sold out. We had to get a bigger venue in Toronto, and we're doing Wembley in England. It's going to be crazy.
Are you going to make Conor get there on time? Because you know Floyd comes an hour and a half late to press conferences.
It's going to be a fucking shit show. You know that. Absolute shit show. So, I don't know, man. It's going to be crazy.
And switching gears back to MMA, what did Valentina get compensated for today?
What did Valentina get compensated?
Yeah, did she get paid?
I think she got $70,000.
And what do you think about Anthony Pettis?
He looked like Anthony Pettis tonight, man. He looked incredible, especially against such a tough, durable grinder like Jim Miller.
And last one, Tony. So if I talk about Justin Gaethje, what do you think about Kevin Lee and Gaethje in Detroit?
Yeah, the thing that's great in that division right now is there's a lot of possibilities. There's a lot of possibilities. So, like I said, I personally would like to do Khabib and Tony. See what's going on with Khabib. See when he's going to be ready. And if he's not ready, then we'll move with one of these other fights.
Dan, going back to Nunes, was it a weight cut issue? Do you know?
Was what a weight?
Over here.
Amanda?
Yeah.
No.
Not over here.
No. I'm not saying that she might not have been affected by the weight cut, but she was healthy.
It does seem like a lot of weight cutting things have kind of messed up cards for you guys lately.
It's true.
It's something that you guys want to address. Obviously, Seaside is kind of addressing it, but anything that you guys can do?
Well, weight cutting's always been a problem, and it always will be. But the Performance Institute's going to help a lot of that. Really, really is.
And just last thing, Jess Guy was here ready to fight last night. Was there any consideration to have her come in and fight Valentina tonight?
No. When you get somebody who's she's prepared mentally and physically for the fight that night, and the fight doesn't happen, usually puts these fighters in it. So who knows what she did that night, or where she went, or what the deal was. Plus, the reality is that there was, the champ was not hurt. She's not hurt. It's not something that's going to keep her out for months. So you just, like Cerrone and Lawler, you just push it back and try to make the fight another time. It's the thing. It's what makes the most sense. It's like Joanna Jacek was like terrorizing me to make this fight for her tonight, but you can't do it. It's too hard to do. You can't make a fight in hours. Plus the medicals that she would have needed to go through, and it's tough to do.
Any more questions?
You good? Thank you guys. Have a good night.